feet together. And right. Okay, so start off nice and easy, guys. Just everyone get Zenku to that. All I want to do is just nice, relax, just head rotation start off with. Yeah, so twist into hammy each. And show knee. San. Shi. Go. Rook. Sich. Hatch. Ku. And do another leg. Hey, nice, relax each. Knee. San. Shi. Go. Rook. Sich. Hatch. Ku. And do that again, okay? Cool, this time everyone just put your right hand out to make your Akazuki. Oh yeah, just slowly twisting our hips, making Kazam each. And show me the me. Sa. Shi. Go. Rook. Sich. Hatch. Ku. And do. So just before we go speaking power, guys, just a couple of tips. Just make sure that whenever you're rotating back and forward with this hip, your back leg is compressing, back leg is pushing that hip forward. I want to use that outer thigh muscle and my inner thigh muscles to make sure that my knees stay facing forward. I'm not opening my legs out or letting that knee wobble. Keeping my knees still, flexing that back leg, rotating the hips, yeah? For me, a little bit faster, a little bit stronger. Ready? Each. Knee. Tap. Kick. Go. Rook. Kick. Hatch. Rook. Go. Good. And that. And see it again. Ready? Each. Knee. Tap. Kick. Go. Rook. Kick. Hatch. Rook. And go. Good. And again, change that. So we're just playing one count, both punches. So we're going to start with this Yakuzuki, rotating Kazamazuki Yakuzuki. One count. Ready? And from here. Each. Knee. Tap. Kick. Go. Rook. Kick. Hatch. Rook. Go. Time. Straight into again. Ready? Each. Knee. Tap. Kick. Go. Rook. Kick. Hatch. Rook. And go.
Hey.
Everyone's getting red back. So just making sure, guys, you know, a sharp back rotation just to warm up with, making sure that you're pulling your rear hip back when you do that Kazamazuki, pushing that rear hip forward when you do that Yakuzuki. I'm going to let you to do, like, I like to 10 by yourself, 10 with your left leg forward, 10 with the right leg forward. I'm going to have a quick look at these, yeah? You guys, if you want to follow someone, you follow the rules Sensei here. Ready? Just head your side, guys, in your own time. Yeah. Yeah, guys, very good. Just watching a few there, guys, everyone moving quite nicely. One thing I do notice, and it tends to be a habit, like whenever I do Kazamazuki Yakuzuki, it tends to be everyone's Yakuzuki is really sharp, really strong. It's something we train a little bit more. People pulling back here tends to be a little bit softer, so it tends to be like a soft first punch. Then everyone drives really hard into that second punch. What I want to work on today is pulling our hips backwards into hammy and driving our hips forward into hammy. So it's like driving in and pulling back into that side-on hip position. And just working on a few key horn drills just to get that a little bit sharper, and then how we can use that practically, you know, as we move a little bit further on in the hour, yeah? So to start off with, guys, I want you to just practice this pull of your hip back a little bit more. So thinking like rotating around this front hip. So my front hip shouldn't really move. It's my back hip pulling back. I want my weight to shift into this back leg. And as I'm doing that, I'm releasing this front hand. And I want it to try and feel you're making this first punch the important part. Second punch, not so much. In fact, we switch it around just to put a little bit more emphasis on this first punch. So from this position, just make a hammy, make that Kazamazuki. So again, super basic just now, just swap that sequence around. So we'll go Yakuzuki, Kizamizuki, yeah? Just nice and easy, one count. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, si, hat, hu, anju. So it can sometimes feel a little bit awkward pulling our weight back as we're sending something forward. But there's a lot of instances where you need to be able to generate power whilst moving our body weight back. Somebody's like pressuring you forward. You want to still be able to deliver a punch with power, even though our body weight's shifting in the opposite direction. So from here, I want you to focus a little bit more on that hikite and think about like all your tension going into this arm, and you're just letting this arm fly out to this position, but it's that pull of your hand and hip to this point here and locking that hip into the position before you release forward, yeah? So from here again, just that Kizamizuki. So again, focus on that pull. Same side. Ready? Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, si, hat, hu, anju. My hand tight. This way. So again, making that Kizamizuki, driving in Yakuzuki, pull it back. Ready? Here. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, ro, si, hat, hu, anju. Good. And at the same time, still remembering that back leg is compression and driving. My knees aren't wobbling side to side. I'm trying to keep that lower body structure as still as possible. Just give me a thumbs up, guys, if you understand. Very good. Again, guys, we'll let you do 10 of those on each side. So starting from Kizamizuki, Yakuzuki, Kizamizuki, try and make that pullback a little bit sharper, yeah? I'm going to go and watch on the screen, follow the Sensei for the thing, yeah? Just 10 of each side, guys, no time. Good.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. Okay. So what's the message? Okay. Over there. Pin the screen. Ah, pin. How do we do that? We're pin the screen. Okay. Guys, well, Bruce Sensei pins my screen off the side. Just a couple of things, like a little bit of timing, just a little bit off. So that we want to have as much synchronization between our hips and upper body as possible. So quite a few people pulling the hip back and the hand still traveling. So you have this kind of off time of 1, 2. We're just going to do a couple of things just to practice getting our body synchronized so that our body mass is moving in one unit. So all I want you to do, guys, is just start with like your feet shoulder width apart. All you have to do is just squeeze in and step back into this hammy dash and then step back up. So step with your right leg to start with, guys. Just this inner thigh muscle squeeze. So I'm drawing my legs into the center. I'm dropping my weight down to this position. And then think that your hip is pushing your leg back to this point. What I see a lot, especially with sort of guys in this dojo, is there's a tendency to step first, rotate second. I want you to really think that that hip and leg are synchronized. That hip is rotating and pushing the leg back to that position as opposed to your leg going independently, yeah? So here, just nice and relaxed, just right leg only. Just squeeze and step back. And reset. Squeeze and step back again. Knee. And reset. And again, sat. And reset again. Shi. Back up. Go. And back. Rook. Sit. Touch. Coop. And two. Good. From here, this leg and hip, squeeze and pull it back. Each. Squeezing back. Knee. Again. San. And shi. Go. Rock. Sich. Touch. Hoop. And Joe. Just after a quick look just across the TV screen that we've got in the back there, I'm seeing a lot of people stepping back and that front knee buckling in. Make sure you're using those outer thigh muscles. It feels like you're not of your belt and your leg are trying to pull in the opposite direction. So I feel like I'm trying to open my hips up as much as I can. So I always feel like from the center, the knot of the belt is quite close to that big leg. As I step back, I feel like the belt and my knee are pulling in the opposite direction. Keep that structure in that front knee. Don't be lazy with it and let it drift in, yeah? Still, some people also reaching with this leg first and nothing's happened with the upper body. I want you to think drop and then think that shoulder, hip and leg are all moving at exactly the same time. So I'm dropping everything back together as opposed to this. Yeah? Just try switching legs every time now. Just squeeze into the center, switch back, draw back. See how many, just try and get those points nailed down, guys. I'll give you a couple minutes. Go for it. Okay, good, Danny. Looking a little bit better. Let's add in the upper body a little bit. So from here, just feet together, dropping down. So I want you now to try and keep the same height. So don't let yourself stand up. Work these leg muscles, keep it nice and low. Try and keep that tailbone tucked in. All the way to do is just your left hand on your hip, right hand above your head. And all you're going to do is just, again, synchronize leg, hip, and hand, this rotation back together to this position each. Good. And then pull that same leg up, pull the hand back to your hip. And rotate. Knee. Squeeze and back. Stand. And back. Shi. And go. And rock. Even when I'm coming up, guys, I'm not switching off. My leg, hip, and hand are all coming into that center point at the same time. So try and synchronize that whole movement. Ready? Sich. Back. Touch. Back. Hoop. Front knee staying bent. Keep the same height. Go. And back. Swap hands. Again, everything synchronized. Each. And back. Knee. Back. Sa. Shi. Go. Rook. Sich. And hatch. Good. Everyone got that? Just a quick thumbs up. Do you understand what I'm getting at? Good. So what I'm doing with my upper body isn't really that important. What's important is that timing. My hip is controlling my limbs. The center here is sending these two techniques out. Yeah, it doesn't matter what technique I do in our keyhorn form, I'm thinking, even like when we shift stance, that my center is controlling what my leg and arms are doing. And that helps me just get that synchronization a little bit more. Good? So we'll just try and work our way through all the different techniques, different preparation points, just to show you that it doesn't matter what we're doing with our upper body, as long as we get this lower half working correctly. Yes? So again, just feet together. Best time, just put your left hand to your ear. And just then back so to each. Squeeze back. Knee. And back. Sa. Back. Shi. Back. Good. This time just bring it underneath. For Uchuki, same thing. Each. And back. Knee. Stand. And Shi. Bring it up to your shoulder. Exact same thing for Ganambra. Each. Going back. Knee. Synchronize. Stand. And Shi. Good. Change hands. Start with Arguki again. Each. Knee. Stand. Shi. So to get this down. Ich. Ni. Sap. And Shi. Bring it under. Uchi. Ich. Ni. Sap. Shi. Bring up to your shoulder. Get on right. Ich. Ni. Sap. And Shi. Good, guys. So again, still remembering that feel like this knot of your belt and your knee pulling in the opposite direction so that knee doesn't buckle in. Also, I'm driving back at the hammy, so I want that compression in my back leg every time. I feel my leg straight, my stance is there. I've got nothing to push forward with after this. So I always want to have a level of compression in that back leg so I feel like my center of gravity is going down into my stance rather than being up high on my stance like this. I want my hips to sink down, my legs to sink in, so I have an option to push with that back leg if I'm needed to. Both? Perfect. Anyone got any questions so far, guys? Now's the time. All good? Excellent. Okay, cool. So from here, just working through that sequence. So from this position, just make Agyuki. And all we do is drive back Agyuki. Each, squeeze to the center. This time preparing for Sotoki. Knee, squeeze to the center, underneath. Uchuki San, squeeze up to the top. Get Amarashi. Back to that Agyuki prep. So we're just working through those blocks. Agyuki, Sotoki, Uchuki, get Amarai. I want you to think less about what your upper body's doing. Keep that relaxed. If you make a mistake with the sequence, I don't care. What's important is that hip and leg pull back and squeeze back up to the center. Ready? So Agyuki ich, Sotoki, Uchuki tap, get Amarashi. Back to square one. Ready again. Agyuki ich, Sotoki, Uchuki tap, get Amarashi. Back to start. Good. One count, guys. Everything. I'm going to watch this one count, work through all those. So Agyuki, Sotoki, Uchuki, get Amarai. Have that hip being in control of everything that you're doing. Rose? Good. I'm going to watch you guys. You guys follow the Sensei. Let's do it 3 times with that left foot. Yeah? Ready? Go. Side. Okay, and start to the left side. Ready? We just got a preparation. And each. So to knee. Uchi. And get on the right sheet. One more time slowly. And each. So to knee. Uchi. And get on the right sheet. Oh, you did that try by yourself 3 times. Ready? Again. Okay. Yeah, man, relax, guys. Catch your bit back up. So yeah, like watching through a few of the videos there, some of you getting the hang of it, which is good. Some people that still see like that Agyuki is a really obvious one where the lower half of your body's moving and this half isn't doing anything until your foot's already kind of planting, like the ball of the foot's kind of touching the floor, and then as your heel drops down, everything then starts to move and come up. You want to really have it like as soon as you're going past this center point here, everything is synchronizing together, yeah? So some people still struggle a little bit with that. In your own practice, guys, you know, like whenever you're doing Kihon in class or whatever, you want to try and maybe think about having a little bit more synchronization with that lower body, yeah? So we'll do the same thing going forward, a little bit easier. It's a little bit more like natural in our katas and stuff like Kian Shodan, having a synchronization of leg and handle moving together. So similar drill, yeah? Just from here, just going to drive forward this time. So forward into Agyuki. Squeezing back to your ear, forward sole to knee. Squeezing back underneath, uchi san. Squeezing back up, gerambarai shi. So the thing I find tricky when I'm practicing this myself, guys, is as my weight's going forward, it's definitely tempting to allow that knee to turn in. Yeah, it's something that I see a lot of my guys do. Sometimes, especially when I'm getting tired, I have to catch myself. Just make sure, again, you're feeling that knee pushing in a straight line as that hip opens up. So you're having that, again, that pull apart as you drive into that position. Also, when you're driving forward, tendency is to let your weight take your whole body there. You end up like extending this leg a bit too far. Try and hold back a little bit and keep some compression. So again, you have a little bit of something here, a little bit of loading here to drive forward afterwards if you need to. Close. So again, come here, agni each. And squeeze back. So to knee. Squeeze back to your root to the sand. Squeeze back, get on the right sheet. Reset. And again, each, knee, stamp, and sheet. And again, each, knee, stamp, and sheet. Let's change sides. Let's say when you're right. Ready, each, knee, stamp, sheet. Reset again, each, knee, stamp, sheet. One more time, each, knee, stamp, and sheet. Guys, just give me a quick thumbs up if you all understand. Yeah, it's very similar to the last one. Instead of going backwards, we're going forward. Again, things that typically happen is synchronization is maybe a little bit off. Try and make sure that that leg, hip, and hand are all moving forward together. A little bit easier because the same side is working as opposed to opposite leg, opposite hand. All of these sort of three elements are all moving in the same direction, which makes it a little bit easier. And just make sure that your knees aren't wobbling side to side. You're having that direct line with that front knee as you pull that hip in the opposite direction. Feel like you're creating a gap between the knot of your belt and that main leg. Close? Close. All right, try a couple of times again with 2 Sensei. I'll give you a watch. Like a pick. Oh, there you go. Nice. Yeah, 2 things that I spotted there just on some people. Again, some people doing it really well. Some people maybe struggling a little bit. This supporting leg, it's very easy when you rotate forward to have this back knee and hip become disconnected, yeah? And that's the last thing I want. Last thing I want is to lose that sort of rooted position on this back leg. So when I'm driving forward, I have to work extra hard. Again, everything wants to turn with my hips. Everything wants to open. From here, I want to work really hard with this inner thigh muscle to keep this close. When I'm driving forward, this leg is still primed and ready to be used. If I'm overextending and over-rotating here, I can't really do much with this leg. Yeah, so I want to make sure that I'm keeping it compressed and I'm also keeping it pointing in the direction that I want to be going. So try your best, especially when you're doing lots of rotations here. If you're not squeezing this muscle or you don't have the leg strength, you're going to end up starting to rotate. It might be gradual, but it'll get bigger and bigger to the point where you're maybe legs completely rotating and open and closing every time. So that inner thigh muscle squeeze as I drive forward, keep that in line, is important, guys. Second thing is my center line. Some people, when we're driving forward a little bit, are allowing our hips to dip, and we have this kind of break in our line here where my hips are sitting behind my shoulders. I want you to try your best to keep your abdomen engaged. Feel like you're trying to tuck the knot of your belt up ever so slightly. It doesn't have to be like super exaggerated to the point where you're getting fatigued here, but you want to stop it from dipping. as you go forward. You want to try and keep that squeeze. So when I go back to this position, everything's nice and straight. And when I drive forward in this position, everything's staying nice and straight. I'm not having a dip here or having a dip when I come back here. Close? Close. Let's do it one more time. Come here. Just that aggie grip.
Sensei,
Yes.
when we go back and when it's a totally reset, you don't want to end up with your leg that's going forward. You want that fully planted again before you go, rather than just having it primed and then pushing out again.
I personally, because I'm driving in and pulling back, I'm not really worried about putting any weight on the leg that's moving. So when I'm driving forward and then squeezing back to here, I'm quite light. Yeah, it's the inner thigh muscle squeeze that I want to have back in the support of that jiggle, that supporting leg. When I'm driving forward with this, I want to feel like rooted on the way out. When I'm coming back, I'm still got this kind of leg, so I can just snap back in. So don't worry about being heavy with your legs. When you're doing this kind of dynamic hip sort of drive and pull, you don't want to have any kind of like heaviness with the movement leg. You want to be a little bit lighter. Just makes your hips be the sort of emphasis as opposed to heaviness in your legs, yeah? You want that focus to be there. Close? Close. Oh, you ready again? Just a aggie grip. Okay, ready? Each, drive, knee, tap, sheave. Yeah, each, knee, tap, sheave. One more time. Each, knee, tap, sheave. Good. How about you do that? Perfect. Do that. Good. Ready? Good. Relax. Okay, guys. One last thing I say again is still people kind of leaving their weight forward. So, like when you're returning from this position, your head's kind of staying in and your tailbone's kind of pulling out. You're pulling back, like from this kind of pull as opposed to this kind of pull. I want to try and like imagine that head and not my belt connected, and I'm pulling like a door hinge. Like you hear that analogy with karate all the time, yeah? One side's not moving, the other side is pushing forward and pulling back. But quite a few of you are pulling back from the lower half of both sides, and the upper body's kind of staying here, and you're ending up in this kind of position, yeah? You want it to be that like whole lead side of your body drawing back and pushing out together. That kind of synchronization. Close? Okay. Guys, very quickly, just put your feet together. Those goes. Just, you've got 30 seconds, guys. Just grab a quick sip of water, yeah? 30 seconds. Go for it. Okay, guys. So we're just going to do it in a little bit more of a dynamic sense, a little bit structural with the kihon, but the same principle of driving forward and pulling back with the hip, yeah? So working on that drive in the hammy. So from here, everyone just put your left leg forward and make Jukamai. Yeah? So everyone just in that position. All the way to do is, again, just pull this hip and lead leg back and just make Kikite with this hand. So just a little bit sharper, a little bit more dynamic. All the way to do is just drive forward, make Hizamazuki, and then snap back to that position. So think that hip, sending that leg and hand forward, drive and snap back. Right. Suck. You want to try and keep as low as you can, sheep, and feel that hip is the sort of engine that's driving everything forward. Go. Rock. Sit. Touch. Good. And two. And that change. So just from that position, squeezing everything back, driving everything out. Each, knee, tap, sheep, go, rock, sit, touch, go, and show. So that little bit sharper, a little bit more dynamic, drive in and out. If you focus on your upper and lower body, is going to fall a little bit flat, guys. You're going to end up kind of leaning in and maybe stamping a little bit. I want it to be that push and come back from that hip as opposed to stepping and reaching. Close. I see quite a few of you have 1 or 2, maybe 3 or 4 people in the same room with you. If you have a partner, you can turn this into a nice little partner drill. So all I like to do from here is all I'm going to do is draw that lead hand back and move this hand just as cover across, and then I'm going to drive out and he's going to pull back. So not only does it force our practicing driving in quickly, but we can always practice pulling back from that position quickly. So when he comes in, I'm drawing that hip back as quick as possible, driving it out quick, going back quick, drive, pull, drive, pull, drive, pull, drive. Oh my God, we're snapping, yeah, to that point. So we're going to snap out a little bit. That feels very easy if I'm working on just pulling and pushing from my hip. If I'm doing that with my leg and hand, that's going to be very cumbersome. It's going to take quite a lot of energy out. If you're just moving from that hip, you can do that quite fast for quite a long period of time. Yeah. So if you've got a partner, start slow, build up the speed with that. Guys, if you don't have a partner, start slow, but just try and get that pass out, fast back feeling. And when you get comfortable, see, you can just keep driving. Snap, snap, snap. So you're twitching that hip forward and back really fast, yeah? Give that a go, guys. I'll give you a couple of minutes, try both sides, and I'll watch you give you some feedback.
So, and the third person is not here, it becomes a walkover. The both of you will compete for this 50.
Sorry, guys, was that a question? Or somebody just unmuted by accident? Unmute by accident. So yeah, guys, you want to try and keep the synchronization we've just been working on in the keyhorn, but now you want to push it to the limit. Quite a few of you are slowing your hip down to match your hand and leg, and you're synchronized, but it's very dull. We've worked on synchronization, try and keep that synchronization, but now drive that hip in as fast and pull it back as fast as you can. So you're getting that sharpness, that sharp twitch to this, yeah? So there's time to practice synchronization, which is good. For here, I want you to try and drive in and out like as quick as you can into that position. So I'm driving out and pulling back as fast as possible, yeah? I'm going to give you, just everyone yammy for 1 second, get your breath back. And you're going to try and keep up with Sensei. Sensei's the fastest in the dojo. He's a little whippet. Used to be. After he's traveled. So here, you're going to try and keep up with Sensei. You're going to go for 20 seconds. Yeah, 20 seconds as fast as you can. I want you to push and pull with that hip as quick as possible, yeah? I'm just going to watch and make sure nobody's cheating. Okay, ready? 20 seconds, 3, 2, 1, go! Yeah, relax. Very good, guys. Very good. Last it looks like a good go for days. Oh, you're good. But no, 21 seconds on the other leg. Getting back to your hands. So just be careful, guys. Keep watching the food. They're going fast. And this is one of the reasons it's good to go fast sometimes because it shows you how your body performs under pressure. Sometimes if we go too slow with our techniques all the time, we can be in a false sense of security. And then when we have to use it fast, our body's not replicating at speed what we do slowly, yeah? So from this position, as soon as we started going really fast, people started dipping like this. That's the big culprit. It starts becoming this kind of pendulum movement here as opposed to this draw back and pull out here, yeah? So again, think about that, hip and shoulder being stuck, glued together when you're going fast in this position as opposed to that lower half coming back and dipping forward. Goes. 20 seconds on the other side. Try and make sure you keep your tailbone squeezed in, keep that out of the neck, and put your head on the shoulder. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good effort, guys. And breathe, 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 breathe. Good. So hopefully everyone gets what I'm getting at. Like at speed, that sharp dynamic twitch is really important. And going at speed can just highlight some of the flaws maybe that you have compared to when you're moving slowly. Yeah. So sometimes it's important to push the pace a little bit when you're doing this kind of practice. Yeah. So just get your breath back, take a second. Oh, you're good. So now working like a similar thing with the lower body this time, yeah? This time we're going to go from Zenkutsu, this time in Shomen, yeah? And all I like to do, guys, is try your very best not to, again, rotate and then lift your leg. We're just going to do Maigeri. And I want you to think about rotating your hip as you lift and drive your leg forward as opposed to pulling and then kicking. And just about everyone's going to pull and then kick. I want you to think, squeeze your knee up. Everyone just try squeezing that knee up. Each. Keep my hip still just now. Knee up, knee. Snap. Sheep. So what I'm thinking about is this hip flexor in my abdomen squeezing really tight as I lift. Go. Rock. Seach. And hatch. And then when I lift, I'm then going to push this hip in. So from this position, I'm driving in as I kick to this position. I'm trying to avoid how much my body goes back. I'll go back a little bit because you're going from 2 legs to 1 leg. But you want to have this feeling of pushing forward as you make that Maigeri. So from here, just try. Leg and hip push in. Reach. Again, knee. Sat. Sheep. Go. Rook. Seach. Touch. Hoop. And two. Good. And tight. Change legs. Same thing again. So from here, try not to pull too early. You're squeezing up and then rotating that hip in as you come down. Ready? Reach. Knee. Snap. Sheep. Go. Rock. Seach. Hoop. Shoot. Good. We'll do 10 more. Good. And again, ready from here. So again, lift and rotate. Each. Knee. Snap. Sheep. Go. Rock. Seach. Touch. Hoop. And show. Good. So all this is, guys, is just driving more body weight in with that twitch into hammy as I lift the kick. Like if I'm through here. Like that typical Maigeri where we have our hips kind of straight. Yeah, you can drive a lot of weight in, but as soon as I start opening that hip up, like I've got way more body mass going with that kick. The same way that if I punch with my body square as opposed to rotating in, it's the exact same feeling. So I just want you to have that ability to squeeze up, rotate your hip in as you and then go back. So that drive in and relax, yeah? So just try a couple of times yourself. Just try and get that synchronization. Leg up. Once it's up, drive in to that position. For this one, guys, because I'm driving in with my legs, I don't mind if you turn this foot. Yeah, the important thing is to get my hip in. If some of you flexibility-wise maybe can't rotate your hips into this position without that foot moving, allow that foot to rotate, makes it a little bit easier. Just make sure that when you land, you're not dead with that leg. You push and then recover back down. Close. Try a few times, guys. Go for it. Okay, yeah. Yeah, guys, so the last thing I really want to do here is have anything going in this direction with my upper body especially, yeah? There'll be a little bit of weight shifting back. It's like as soon as I lift my leg off the floor, there's a slight pull back. But what quite a few of you are doing is this shoulder is pulling down quite a lot. And you have this kind of action. And your body's side on, but all your body weight is kind of sitting over this back leg and this leg's coming out. I want to have a sense that my body weight's pushing in to that position. So if I like slow that down, I'm kind of driving into like almost like a split, you know, if I make a very cumbersome movement, but I'm trying to push forward with that hip as much as possible. So even like landing is not going to be the perfect sort of pretty hikiash back, but I'm not worried about the hikiash coming back so much as putting as much body mass into my target as I can. So allowing the body to open. Feel like you're trying to keep the shoulder still and push your body in this way as opposed to pulling back that way. So that push in as opposed to that pull back. Give it another couple of seconds, guys. Try both legs. Go for it. Yeah, it's good. Right, so that technique for me, guys, on a more practical level, like we were doing Kumite this morning, like in our morning training, and I try and like these kind of different ways of kicking just to see what works and what doesn't work. And I found that this is very sort of applicable when you're kicking to the body. If I'm driving that hip in and I'm sinking that body weight in just a little bit more, I tend to get a bigger reaction from people when I'm driving that hip forward to here. And then all I have to do once I'm getting a reaction from my opponent is I stop my hip and pull my foot back to here. So rather than committing to the push, all I do is shortcut that a little bit and continue to push and rotation while I was lifting my knee up and over. And this tends to open people up for, you know, this kind of dynamic kick, that sort of a change in direction very easily. So I'm sinking that leg in, making that heavy kick. And then when I'm getting that reaction, I'm continuing the same drive. All I'm doing is just lifting my foot. All I'm doing is pulling my foot back and turning my knee up at the same time. Yes. So that same drive forward, all I'm doing is just putting a sort of pause in to change my position, and then I continue forward with that hip. Does that make sense? So if you have a partner, you can practice touching with that Maigeri, with that body side on, once, twice, off that front leg, once, twice, and then pull back and touch with that hip, or pull back and drive that leg all the way into that position. Those, you want to be nice, pull back. If not, keep driving through and have that shin wrapped around the side of their head, yeah? Even going low with this, changing to the outside of the leg is a good drill as well. So if I'm getting that reaction of maybe taking the weight off the leg here, if you've ever done any kind of leg conditioning, if your weight's on your leg, you can take the kick relatively well. As soon as you lift your weight off that leg, that's when you start feeling it. Yes, it becomes very painful. So if I can get that reaction where the center's coming back from digging a few of these, like these legs in, or a few of these back legs in with that kick, and then I can change it to the outside, that's going to be very painful, very effective. Close. So just try that a couple of times, like you do it off the front leg or back leg, hip in, big round. Close. Give it a try, guys. Go for it. Come on, Sensei. Come on.
Frozen, I think.
Oh,
He's looking. There's another question here. Oh, I just disappeared.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. So when I'm like talking earlier about driving in with that front leg and saying that you don't have to have your support leg stay straight when you're driving your hips all the way in. So from this position, I want that leg to help my hips push now, yeah? I'm not doing strict keyhorn form. I'm not driving my power straight and recovering back in the same way that we were for the Kazamizuki. So from here, I can drive that leg all the way in on that my area, yeah? What you don't want to do is have it rotate and rotate before the Mawashi area when you're switching. I want to have that leg help get my body round, yeah? So when I'm in this position and I'm driving here and doing this fake, I want to have this leg still primed facing the front for when I then switch and come round to that position. That just gives, like, after that little fake, it just gives my body that extra kick to get that hip round. Yeah, so use that support leg to create that switch in position. I'm rotating my heel all the way in to that form, yeah? Let's give that a try, go for it. Good. Yeah. So that's like ideas for when you're driving your hip forward. So you've got that basic Kazama, you've got that Maig area, and then you've got that Owashi area you can do, pushing your hip in. Now all I want to do for the last couple minutes is just that pull back with your hip. Yeah. So all I'm going to do is from here, Rusi is just going to attack Kazama. All I'm going to do, guys, is just practice this like little step out and then this pull of my rear hip, just the same action that we use when we step back. I'm just going to pull back and then swing this arm round to this position. Now you can use high toe, teisho, you can hook, SL up hooking, but like this position when I pull round and keeping my weight on this lead leg, just the same way that you would pull back and shift your weight off of here, you're keeping that leg heavy. It's the same idea here. I'm pivoting around, I'm letting my hips carry myself round, but I'm keeping my weight on that lead leg so I have mass in this position. But it's that pull of my hips that get my body round. So all I want you to do is just like, you can go from like this natural stance, this sort of sanction dash, and all I want you to do is just think, drop and rotate that back hip and allow your body to pivot maybe like 90 degrees round. Each. Reset. Pivot round. Reset. And again, snap. Reset. Sheep. And again, you can change it high toe, show, whatever it is you want to do, yeah? Go, round. Again, rock. Seat. Hatch. Cool. And one more, two. Good. Change that. And then again. So I'm staying on the ball of my foot. So I've got my weight on that, on my toes here, and I'm just keeping that knee in that position as my hips pull round. One of the things that a lot of people do when they're starting off this, that if I'm facing this way and I'm going to turn and face the camera at 90 degrees, the rear leg goes in a straight line with their lead leg or even further behind. Still try and stop your stance when you're at that shoulder width apart position. So I'm shoulder width apart here. When I punch and rotate, I'm still shoulder width apart when I get to that point there. Close? Just try again. Ready? Sorry. Each. Each. Sat. Sheep. Go. Rock. Sit. Touch. Look. And you go. Good. So just try that a couple times yourself. If you've got a partner, you can have that example. You can come in and move round and hip as they come in. You don't have a partner, practice yourself. Even if you've got a focus pad or something like that, you can practice putting in a bit of power with that as well. But try and think that that hip is pulling your body around, and your body mass is being sort of slingshot boom into that lead arm. Just try for another 30 seconds, so guys, go for it. Yeah. Only thing I would say, guys, the time's taken away, so I don't want to spend too much longer. But only thing I'd say is just make sure when your back hip is pulling, you want to still have the ability to pull from this hip, but have your weight stay over that leg. Quite a lot of you are back here, and like maybe on that kind of hammy position that you would use for, so to get up, right? That kind of feeling where maybe too much of your weight is going to the back. Whenever you're hitting with that front side, you still want to feel a good bit of weight on that lead leg. So even when I'm pulling around, I'm still quite heavy. Like this is incredibly light. Yeah, I don't have much weight on that back leg at all. My hip is pulling, but my weight stays there. Yeah, so subtle difference between that kind of weight sinking into that back leg and that moving and circling, creating circular power. You still need to have a bit of weight forward on that. Close? Close. Cool. Okay, next one, guys. The exact same thing with the lower half of your body. Again, simple thing. What I'm doing is I'm pulling back again. This time, I can allow this back leg to open because I'm not worried about returning. I'm opening my back leg, feeling that big pull with my hip as the sensei comes into that position. Boom, I can tap low here. Very horrible. And boom, we'll actually get it to the center. Very horrible. Or boom, pulling that leg back up. Boom, come up to the head. Yeah, this is one of my favorite techniques. It's one of the ones that I learn the most in the competitions and stuff like that. I love it, but even in my own practice, just in the dojo, when it's a little bit more realistic, somebody coming in and being able to sit my weight in on that leg, really, really effective, guys. So it's pulling with this hip, having my weight back, and what I'm not doing is 1, 2. I'm trying to feel like as my weight is shifting, my knee's already coming up, so I'm kind of switching this position as opposed to having it be disconnected. Step, turn, lift, kick. Yeah, at the end of all that, it's just that flick of my knee. I want that mass to be connected, boom, to that leg. So when I'm hitting Bruce with it, boom, like all my mass, I feel like wants to go and decapitate, kind of, yeah? So try and make sure you're not in this position before you kick. You want to feel, boom, that feel. Hips coming back, wrist coming, boom, round to that position. And you're just letting that go through. Does that make sense? Give that a try for the last one, guys. Just go for it. And guys, I'm stopping because me and Ruth Sensei are friends and we're buds. When I'm practicing this kind of thing, I'm not like competition, obviously you have to control it, but when I'm practicing, I'm not worried about coming back. I'm thinking take your head off. So when I'm kicking, I'm boom, I'm coming right the way through the target. Yeah, don't worry about recovering with this kind of thing. I want all my body mass to move through the target. So if Ruth Sensei's head is there, but I want to think like my foot is going to come right past his head, like boom, like that. I'm thinking decapitation. Yeah, I'm not worried about recovering. This kind of pull and that doesn't lend itself to coming back the same way. Too much body mass is going in one direction. Really tough to get it back. Just let it go through. Yeah? Get out of the Kihon mind. Just stay one second, guys. Do it a little bit more. Okay. Okay. Too big for that. Really had it small. Too big. Okay, yeah, we got it. That was perfected that. Okay. So guys, like that, that kind of class that I've just done there is kind of like what my brain thinks of when I'm doing thousands and thousands of Kihon reps up and down the dojo with Scott Sensei. I'm always trying to think about, synchronization. What position am I finishing in? What position am I in as I'm moving? Am I lifting? Am I breaking my center line? All these things are going on in my head, but a little bit deeper in, there's the crazy person in me that's thinking, how am I going to destroy someone in front of me with these kind of sort of techniques? Because karate can become very superficial if we're only thinking about the shape. You want to think about practicality. And in terms of practical use, a lot of people are excellent at making the sort of pure technique that we practice into application. I know Scott Sensei, when he does kata, he will not change the technique that he's doing in the kata, he'll just make it work. I know some of you trained with Steve Sensei, who's very similar. He will perform his karate and his Kihon a certain way and his kata the exact same way, and then he'll break someone into pieces the exact same way. I'm a little bit different. I try and find, because I've done other martial arts before, try and find what's the same when I go to a boxing class and I practice this check hook. Where is that check hook in my Kihon? Or where is it in kata? And if I had a bit more time, I'd maybe throw a kata in there that has a little bit of what I'm talking about there. But unfortunately, I've only got the hour. But this is where my brain's going when I'm thinking about this stuff. I'm always thinking about what's important about the Kihon that we're doing, and then how does it translate to what my natural tendency is. So anytime I've ever been unfortunate enough to have to defend myself, the last thing on my mind is this kind of stuff. And I'm back to what I used to do as a kid at school, yeah. And it's just that you're a little bit faster and stronger and better at it with all this training. If you can find the time to practice applying it in those kind of ways, if that makes sense. Yeah. So that's just a little insight to how my chaotic brain tries to make sense of my karate. Yeah. And I really want to thank everyone for coming on today and taking the time today to do it. Thank you to the guys who even aren't in America who have taken the time to jump on today and take part. It's a real privilege to teach you guys today and be a part of this first stage HDKI-USA Kangeiko. And I just really want to thank you for giving me the time, guys. Yeah, really appreciate it. And thanks for training hard.